What is going on YouTube? Just helping you out here. And for today's video, I am going to be doing a review on the Lakai Griffen XLK skate shoe. I highly recommend you watch my unboxing video first to gain a better understanding of what I am going to be talking about in this video. So these are size 11 and they are the black/gray suede colorway. As always, I am going to get started with the soles. So when I skateboard, I mainly skate with my left foot forward, meaning there will always be more wear on my left shoe. I do also skate switch, which means my right foot forward, but I don't skate switch as much, so my right shoe is not quite as worn as this one. So as you can see, most of the notable wear is in the toe area. There's a few spots where it feels like the sole is very thin, like right here, and right here especially. I can kind of almost feel the insole. In those particular spots, if I skated these shoes for maybe a few more sessions, there'd probably be a hole in those spots. On the less worn shoe, you can see that there is some wear in the same spots, but not nearly as much. Below the toe box though, everything pretty much looks the same on both shoes. Again, pretty much the same. The soles on these shoes were actually very grippy, and I did not notice any major degradation in the grip as the soles wore down, no slip issues or anything like that. Moving on to the midsole, the wave-like style and some of the finer pattern is definitely visible in places. So you can still see there's a clear, distinct pattern on this midsole right in here. Again, I didn't notice this being any different from other skate shoes when doing tricks. Because the sole and midsole are white, they did get dirty quite easily, and now are kind of a beige, light tan brown color, but you can see various blotches of color around. So right here you can kind of see it's yellowish brown. We have a little more white here. Back here is kind of like brown and dark. And here you can see all sorts of colors on the inner side of the shoe. Right here you can see the midsole is very worn down. This is because this is the area of the shoe I used to flick when doing tricks while skateboarding. Wearing down the shoe this much took lots of hours of skating. The other midsole is pretty much the same besides the flick area, where you can see it is a bit softer right here, but you can't really see any major damage like you could on the other shoe. Moving up to the body of the shoe, we have a suede leather material and a lot of wear and tear. In that same toe flick region, as you can see, it's basically 2 layers, and it has worn all the way through to the inside of the shoe. So right here you can actually see the insole, that little red piece, and here we have a suede leather and another stitched piece, and then here you can go right into where the insole is. That's the reason I stopped skating these. It was starting to rip my socks, and it didn't really feel comfortable on my foot while doing tricks. Also, you can see there's a little hole right here, and that happened because the shoe caught on something and it tore through that top layer and a little bit of the second. And you can kind of see here there's a little bit of discoloration, so here it's more black, but you kind of see some like gray and white blotches around here. That is from the sole rubbing onto the skateboard and then rubbing and transferring back onto the leather part of the shoe. Now on the inner side of the shoe, everything is pretty much still pristine. The Lakai logo, all the stitching, this leather accent here, everything is still intact. On the other side, which is the flick side, has a lot of wear and tear. So right here you can see that the stitching kind of came undone, and we have separate layers. Same thing here, all of this stitching and adhesive came undone. Then right here you can see that this leather accent got all torn up. And you can see right up here we have separation of the material, and this foam padding is starting to protrude out of the shoe. And the Lakai logo on this side is almost completely off, just this bottom piece is hanging on. That is one thing I did not like about the shoe. Stitched on logos tend to come off easy, whereas heat press ones do not. And lastly, you can see a lot of areas that are starting to fray and wear down. And we have that all over the stitching, up in here, all over here, and even some here in the lace area. Now on the other shoe, you can see a lot of that stuff starting. Most of the stitching is fine. In this region you can kind of start to see the wearing down of the shoe. The Lakai logo is starting to get beat up, and there are various places where you can see wear and fraying starting. The next issue I had with these shoes is the laces were way too long. So you can see on this shoe the lace is still intact, and this is extremely long This is probably the longest lace I've ever had on a pair of skate shoes, and even if I double, triple, quadruple knotted these shoes, the lace loops would still hang below the shoe and drag on the ground, which made them tear a lot faster. This occurred even though they were average flat laces. The aglets would drag as well and break off, and the leftover lace would be frayed, and it makes it very hard to relace the shoe if need be. So you can see on this shoe the aglet is pretty beat up, and on the other shoe the aglets just got completely ripped off. In order to avoid these issues, I pretty much just had to knot them a bunch of times and tuck the laces inside the shoe to make sure they wouldn't drag on the ground. And on the main shoe, the laces ripped so many times that you can see that I have no aglets left. They got torn off, and there isn't even really much lace left. See, it's pretty much just laced twice, and that's about it. So the issue was very bad with my flicking foot, but there was still a big issue with the other. Now to the inside, the insoles of this shoe were very comfortable, and you can see the Lakai logo has worn away at the heel. That occurred on both shoes. So if we look at this one, pretty much the same thing. These shoes actually broke in very fast and were comfortable just to walk around in, which sometimes for me, skate shoes don't really feel that comfortable when you just walk around in them, just going to the store or just hanging out with friends, but these ones I actually thought that they felt pretty nice just walking around. The insoles are also removable in case you wanted to switch them out, so you can simply just grab them and pull them right out that easily, and then just stick them right back in. Very easy to remove and put back in. So overall, I really liked these shoes for the comfort, the look, and their skateboarding capabilities. I don't have any complaints about how they feel or issues with skateboarding. All positive things there besides the laces. The wear on these looks pretty bad, but take into consideration I did use these for a long time. Probably one of the longest lasting skate shoes that I've had for skateboarding. I don't know exactly how long I had them, but if you are looking for long-lasting skate shoes, make sure they are suede leather because it doesn't rip, it just slowly wears down. The only major complaint I have was the long laces, but that can be fixed by switching them out or just simply dealing with it. I've also had a couple people recommend to me to use shoe goo just to keep them from ripping and make them last longer. I have not personally tried that, but I am looking to trying that with future skate shoes. Other than that, a minor complaint would be the stitched on logo, just because it can come off easily. So that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have a question or an idea for a future video, and lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel so I can grow and help more of you guys out. I'm just helping you out. See you in the next video.